This is FarmCommand, your digital toolbox for in-season decision making. So I'm Ben Johnson. I'm a product marketing manager here at Farmer's Edge. And when we think about data, we're collecting a lot of different pieces of data here at Farmer's Edge, whether it be through satellite imagery or machine telematics, weather station information, and so forth. Capturing that data is very important, but we also can aggregate and analyze that data as well. So we can make that data really more than the sum of their pieces, which is really great to do with data. And that really helps us get some different outcomes as well, which is really what we're looking for when we collect data is obviously some different outcomes, different pieces of reporting and visualizations and alerts, and really helping us make some decisions there. So as far as in-season tools here, we're going to be talking about weather stations, growth stage models as well, and Imagery, our FarmCommand Center platform that helps to tie everything together, and then our email reports where we can actually get some reports out of FarmCommand without actually having to log in every time we want to get some reports, which is very exciting. So first, our on-farm weather stations. So our on-farm weather stations display everything that you would hope a weather station would display. So you can see everything from real-time conditions. That would be temperature, wind speed, direction, the rainfall in the past 24 hours, all of that good stuff. We can also look at a forecast as well. So we can get a 10-day forecast on a daily basis, and then a very detailed 48-hour forecast, which is hour by hour for the next 48 hours, which is really great. And each forecast is not just a general one from the area. It is specific to that specific weather station. So if you've got two weather stations and one's 5 miles down the road from another, we're going to calculate we're going to give an exact forecast for each weather station, even if it's just slightly different. So that is very nice. We also have some radar data. We can also look up historical weather data. So I think the coolest part about this weather station piece is being able to look up historical information. We can query any time frame from when that weather station has been installed in the ground. So if you've had that weather station in the ground for 3 years, we can look at that time frame. We can look at 3 years ago, for a several month period and take a look at that. Or we can look at a specific day as well. So that's very exciting as well. And any grower or any partner can also access any of the weather stations within the Farmer's Edge weather station network, really worldwide. But really, I think most people are most concerned with what's going on in their general part of the world, so they can look at their neighbors' weather stations and be able to really leverage the power of that network. So we can view all this information on the app as well. So we can see just some live conditions there on the left. We can also see a bit of a forecast on the right. And so we can look at this forecast. That's the daily forecast on the left there. And then we can also pop that out on the right, and we can get just an hour by hour forecast on that. Not just see the temperature, but also any predicted rainfall, wind speed and direction, and relative humidity, and so forth. So that can be pretty handy depending on what you're doing, whether it's just knowing what the weather is, or maybe you're trying to plan out some field operations, or even spraying or whatever. This can kind of help give you a good heads up on that. We can also see our weather stations exactly where they are geographically, which is great to see. See the exact temperatures just kind of around the region that you care about. And we can also see the radar as well, and we can make this live and see exactly where a storm system's going, and we can also try to predict it out a little bit as well, with just trying to see where that storm cell might be heading. Next is our crop managers. So this is where we can model out several different crops. So this is our current list of crops that we've got models for. So as far as our crop models, so to go into that, if we know the crop that you planted, the hybrid, the day you planted it, we're getting that information from our machine telematics, and a few other pieces of information. We can actually apply that to a crop model, and there's a few things that we can look at there. So we can actually model out what crop stage the crop currently is. And so, we're adding in that weather information as well. So that weather information is really great just by itself, but we can funnel that information into other places like this crop model. And so we can see where see that crop is. And so if you've got a lot of acres that you're managing, you can be sure that you're staying on top of everything and nothing gets ahead of you and so forth. We can also look at certain key pests, so diseases and insects as well, depending on the crop. So we can see sclerentia at the bottom. So we can see exactly where that's, what our risk stage is at this point in time. So we can see that it's been kind of going back and forth between low and medium risk throughout the season on this chart here. So that's good. That's going to help us figure out what our if it's maybe advantageous to apply a chemical or not. So that's really great. The next piece here is satellite imagery. So satellite imagery is great because we can have some alerts based off of satellite imagery. We can see all kinds of things that show up in imagery from contamination or from spray applications or drift or even some chemical trials that we have out there. We can see some results of variable rate technology. We've been able to see issues with tile drainage or even lodging of the crop, just a lot of things we can see out in the field due to imagery. And it really comes down to the different layers that we're able to display. So the top right there is NDVI, so that's normalized differentiated vegetative index, or basically it's a measure of biomass. And it's on a set scale, so that is a set scale. Every field, every image is going to be on that same scale, so you can really compare different fields to each other, and it's sort of a benchmark number. So you can see, if one field's doing better than another, and it's pretty easy to pick out. However, once we see that crop go from dark green to slightly less dark green, that's probably our window of time to take meaningful action based on that image, but it just does not pop to the eye. So we've created another image called our scouting layer. And so that's where instead of having every field on the same scale, each individual field is then put on its own scale. So we want to just draw out the differences within that field. So every field, we want to have some green out there, we want to have some red, and it might be a pretty uniform field, but we want to see where the best parts are of the field and where the worst parts are. That kind of makes it a really good layer to scout off of, because you're going to be able to see the best parts and the worst parts, and you can kind of help you guide some of your scouting activities there. And so that's a pretty powerful image. The next one down on the bottom left there is the variation layer. And so the variation layer is it's a different type of layer. It's really meant to pick up some of those things that you might not notice just by driving past on the road, or even sometimes you're out in the middle of the field scouting. We've seen all kinds of things over the years in the variation layer that we haven't seen in the other two layers. Those could be irrigation skips on center pivots. We've seen drainage issues. We've seen differences in planting populations, differences in varieties, tillage issues, and on and on. And so it's a very powerful tool to use just in conjunction with these other layers as well, to kind of catch some things that you might not be seeing. And then at the bottom right there, we have what we call our crop health change layer. And so this is where we're actually taking two images and we're comparing them against each other, and we're noticing the differences between them. And so that crop health change layer is actually it's a measure of change out there. And so if there's a significant change compared to the field average, we're going to draw a wireframe around that area. And we can also send you an alert via a text message, or sorry, via a push notification via the app, or we can also send you an email. And so instead of having to go through imagery on every single acre that you manage, you'll get an alert just on the handful of fields that might need your attention right now. So this is a pretty powerful tool as far as imagery goes, and it's essentially the easy button for imagery, which is really great. Next, we have our scouting app. So this is a tool where we can use out in the field to take some scouting observations, and being able to access this right there in the field, to be able to share this with the entire team. So maybe I go out there one week and do some scouting, and maybe my dad goes out the next week. He can see my same pins that I dropped. He can see the same images that I took, and so forth. So you can see exactly where you are out in the field. You'll have a little blue dot that shows you exactly where you are. You'll see those previous observations. And then you can also load up imagery as well. So here's an NDVI layer. We can also take a look at the scouting image as well. So we can look at any image from throughout the season on this. So we can look at the latest one, or maybe there was a key one earlier in the season. Maybe there was some sort of issue and we want to be sure that it's been resolved. We can pull up that image and make sure that everything's doing good on there. So very powerful in-season tools for that. Next is what we call FarmCommand Center. So this is on the web version of FarmCommand, and so this is where we're bringing all this information into one place, and we can actually do some filtering based on some certain criteria to kind of give us some insights here, and also so we can see the forest through the trees more or less. So here we've got a bunch of fields loaded up here. We've got some different colored fields. And each field boundary that's a different color is a different crop. So we can see there's some malt barley, canola, we got peas, soybeans, and wheat out there. And so we can see exactly where those fields are. If we wanted to filter out some of those fields to just see one specific crop, we could do that. We can also load up different imagery layers as well. So if we wanted to look at all imagery at once on these fields, we could do that. And we can see the strong parts of our farm versus the weak parts of our farm. And we can really make short work of that imagery piece. And so that's pretty exciting to be able to do that. You think about a lot of precision ag programs, it's usually you're looking at data on just a field by field basis. And so that can be a lot of stuff to sift through. And this makes it a lot easier to be able to just get a bird's eye view of things that are going on and quickly figure out where your issues are and go from there. We can also pull up equipment information as well. So we can see exactly where pieces of equipment are. We can load up different paths where they've been through different time frames as well. We can even look at them where they are live in the field. So if they were, maybe they're out there planting, we can see exactly where they are and get an idea of, maybe how much of that field they have left as well. We can also keep track of exactly where people are. So we can see if, again, if someone's getting close to finishing up a field, or maybe dad's taking a nap on the edge of a field underneath the tree line, you learn all kinds of things. So a pretty powerful tool for that as well. So we can also filter to looking at some reports as well. So all that information that we pull up inside of FarmCommand Center underneath that map section, we can also go over to this reports tab, and we can get some equipment reporting, based on that same time frame that we're querying there. And it's great to be able to pull those reports, but what's even just taking that to the next level is being able to create these automated report subscriptions. And so you can choose how often you want to get an equipment report. So you can either get it every day, once a week, every other week, once a month. You can choose the exact day that it gets emailed to you and the specific email address that it's sent to. So that's a pretty powerful thing. And different operations need different things. If you're just a one-man show, maybe getting a monthly report would be good, just to show you how efficient each one of your machines are, and just getting a big picture view. But maybe if you're a larger operation, maybe you need to know what everyone's doing every single day, because you're not just quite on the pulse of every last machine that's moving. So this can be a pretty powerful tool, and it's delivered straight to your email inbox, which is great. And so this equipment report, it can show you just all that information that's pulled off of the CAN system there. So we can see total working time, idle time, area covered, acres per hour, distance traveled, speed, all kinds of things on that, overlap even. And there's different reports that we can do for this. And so basically there's three factors that we can shuffle around to show different things. So we can look at equipment, date, and fields. And so just depending on how we shuffle those around, that can tell us some different things. So it's some pretty powerful stuff. And being the fact that our CAN plug is a brand agnostic telematics solution, that can do a lot for us, especially if we've got a mixed fleet. Even if we're maybe 90% one color of equipment, maybe we have that odd blue sprayer, or maybe we see an opportunity to get that a deal on a blue sprayer that doesn't, data-wise doesn't quite match our ecosystem that we already have set up. This is a way where we can create some reporting and really compare apples to apples on that, get everything on one report, and help us really get a clear picture of what's going on. Thank you everyone for attending, and have a good rest of your day.